Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ventures Podcast. This is a special episode that I really want to highlight a clip from episode 97 with Dr. Daniel Wilson. He has a PhD in linguistics, and we did a couple of episodes in a row there, episode 96 and 97, on human language technology, Web3, and how and why Web3 matters for the developing world. So in this clip in particular, I think we get to the root conversation topic about why Web3 can actually help billions of people in the developing world because of incentives. Banks and other institutions don't have the right incentives to come in and service these communities, but Web3, by nature of the way that it's decentralized and allows these decentralized finance products to reach all around the world, really have this really gives us unique opportunity to help people in ways that has never been before possible. So this clip in particular, I think, addresses the root of it. So if you're listening to this podcast, you can also watch by visiting wclittle.com. There you'll see more extensive show notes, the different nuances of this clip that we talk about. And if you're watching, you can also listen anywhere that you get your podcasts. You can just search for Ventures and it should show up. So with that, please enjoy this clip from episode 97 with Dr. Daniel Wilson. Now, in light of this new technology, and in light of what we talked about in last episode in terms of your passion for human language technologies to allow more of these low and medium resourced language communities to get access to the global economy, get access to the global information flow, how do you see Web3 affecting change to help these humans flourish?
I think that I think that it is one of the core pieces of infrastructure that we have needed to bring true equity to every human on Earth. Is a core piece of infrastructure. Like I said, like even like a lot of the payments rails, they depend on institutions that can be corrupted. And when you talk about these low resource languages and these communities that haven't had the opportunities we have, they are oftentimes just absolutely corrupt. Like the people in charge are just notoriously corrupt, and they're able to control everyone's access to prosperity and to flourishing, right? And as we have seen, and history has shown it, that this kind of power and this kind of ability rarely leads to them creating prosperity for all of the people under their authority, right? Usually it's the reverse. And so you have these stories, of people raising, saving up their life savings. They get to retirement age. It often doesn't even take until retirement age before the people in power decide all of a sudden that amount you saved up is now worth 1/3 of what it was yesterday. They devalue the currency, and then suddenly what you thought was safe and what you thought was, after you worked so hard for it, and now just the decision of one corrupt person can absolutely wipe that out, right? And there's just and oftentimes in these types of places, institutions that we need in order to lead to the kind of access to prosperity and opportunity, the institutions like banks and stuff aren't like, it's too high risk, right, to go in and offer the kinds of things that we have access to without even thinking about it, right? So that core infrastructure is disincentivized to be in the places that it's needed the most. And so now we have a way of saying, okay, what if it was possible to have access to that opportunity and that opportunity to access capital, that opportunity, those markets, right, without needing sort of that middle layer. And so, yes, maybe corruption will still happen in Web3. I mean, it's going to happen everywhere. But for those people who are like genuinely and are creating just really awesome things that the world needs to know about, they're not left out now. They have access. There's infrastructure that will work for them finally that can enable them to prosper. So that was really long-winded. Sorry.
No, I love it. I mean, we need to talk more about this because the terms DeFi, DAOs, NFT, tokens, blockchains, metaverse, all of these are thrown out there and talked about sort of in isolation. It's really it's the multidisciplinary nature combined with all the economics, combined with all the game theory, combined with all the business development, like economic development aspects of it. This is why this is such an important and such an exciting field right now. It's a shame that so much attention is put to like the pumping up schemes and the different sort of scams or nefarious or illegal activity that's happening with it, when in reality this is the new future for how we can help billions of people flourish all around the planet and participate in a new global economy. Obviously there's going to be regulatory challenges. That's been rife since the beginning. Obviously governments that can just debase their currencies like that, and they have power and they are probably not willingly going to give up that power. So there's all kinds of human challenges, but at least we can solve some technological challenges and get satellites all around the world to beam internet down to people so that other internet providers can't block access to information and block access to economic flourishing. Right. This really matters, right? I mean, you're living it. I mean, you are doing the work of trying to bring in and effectually bringing in this new technology to help humans flourish around the world. So can you just tell us, maybe for those who missed the first episode, like what are you doing right now? Maybe with a Web3 lens, but I know it's all integrated. Like, what are you doing right now to kind of help in this world?
Yeah, sure. So I'm committed to compassionate innovation, right? So I have a consultancy where my job is to pay attention to, spaces like this, innovations in academia, in technology, and make sure that all of these best ideas are reaching the rest of humanity, right? And what I've been preoccupied with for the last couple of years, because my background is linguistics, I have a PhD in linguistics. My background kind of put me into the language space, and I mean, it's all well and good for us to talk about this like core, infrastructure that now makes all this stuff possible. But if your language doesn't work online, then you're still left out, right? So if you don't speak a language that works on the internet, then you're still left out. So we need, and we're actively building language technology to enable speakers of small and medium-sized languages to have digital viability, so that they can access, so they can be part of everything that's available online. And so that's one thing that we've been working on for the past several years. And then in Web3 spaces, I'm like I mentioned, we have a startup that is asking ourselves the question of, if money is programmable, then what types of problems in the world can be fixed? In ways that we never thought possible.
All right, a couple quick things before you go. Number one, I have a general newsletter where I write about technology and startups and health science and teaching people to code. And I write about a variety of different subjects that we talk about on this show. So if you go to wclittle.com, there you'll be able to subscribe, and you'll also be able to subscribe to particular topics. If you're just interested in one or a few of them, you'll be notified right when I publish new content in those areas. Number two, my partners and I at Proto Ventures have a portfolio company called Startup Rocket. If you go to startuprocket.com, there you'll be able to receive coaching guides and customize an operations framework for you and your team and your advisors to be on the same page in terms of what is the appropriate next step for you and your entrepreneurial journey. And finally, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review anywhere that you have listened to this podcast or watched this podcast, it would be super helpful to help those who might be interested in consuming this content as well. Thank you.